Before starting the video, I want to clarify a very important point about some rumors circulating on social media. Some people have tried to confuse others by saying that Taehyung's recent trip to Paris was official, while claiming that Jimin and Jungkook's trip together wasn't. But that's not true. From the beginning, all Korean media outlets confirmed that Jimin and Jungkook's trip was to record official content for their company, after fulfilling their military responsibilities. In other words, it was a work project planned by the company, and it was clearly reported as such. Despite this confirmation, some fans continue to create theories that Jimin and Jungkook's trip was something more personal or intimate, when the reality is that they were simply fulfilling work-related activities. It was all part of their company's strategy to continue creating exclusive content for fans. However, many fans still insist that there is something more going on between them, ignoring the fact that the trip was announced, recorded, and monitored by the staff like any other official project. And what's most striking is how they try to make it seem like there's something special between Jimin and Jungkook, while refusing to accept what's really going on with Taehyung and Jungkook. There are so many moments that confirm how strong their relationship is, and one of the most recent examples was Jin's concert. At that concert, Jungkook was seen using his phone frequently, something many people noticed. For some, it seemed like a distraction. But if we look at the bigger picture, Taehyung was catching a flight at the same time, and those who follow their movements closely know that when Jungkook and Taehyung are apart, Jungkook tends to be more focused on his phone. It's a normal reaction when you're waiting to hear from someone important to you, and it's happened more than once. During J-Hope's concert, Jungkook hardly ever used his phone. Why? Quite simply, Taehyung was with him. He didn't need to text or call him, because they were already together. This difference shows something very clearly. Taehyung's presence makes Jungkook calmer, more focused, and more present. If we combine this with many other moments over the years, a clear and coherent picture of what exists between them emerges. From public appearances to spontaneous interactions, everything shows that Taehyung and Jungkook's relationship goes far beyond ordinary friendship. It's a bond built on trust, affection, respect, and a special connection that needs no words. The problem is that there are people who, for various reasons, are unwilling to see this reality. They prefer to cling to theories or assumptions that have no basis in fact and are often only a reflection of what they wish were true. But the truth is that while some focus on making up stories, Taehyung and Jungkook continue to naturally demonstrate their feelings for each other. A few days ago, Taehyung was spotted at Incheon International Airport. His presence there was no coincidence. He was heading to a major fashion event associated with the renowned brand Celine. However, his time at the airport did not go smoothly. Numerous fans and media gathered to get a closer look, creating a chaotic and unsafe situation. Despite having security, Taehyung had difficulty moving freely due to the large number of people surrounding him with cameras, cell phones, and other devices. At certain times, walking access was practically non-existent, putting him in a vulnerable situation. Incidents were even reported in which some fans, trying to approach or follow him, ended up falling to the ground, posing risks both to themselves and to the artist and his team. This type of behavior represents a real danger for everyone involved. It is important to remember that although public figures generate great interest, their physical and emotional well-being must come before any attempt to obtain a photograph or video. Taehyung appeared clearly uncomfortable, though he avoided making direct comments on the situation. Alongside this event, several rumors emerged on social media and began to spread rapidly. Some users claimed to have seen Taehyung accompanied by Lisa, a member of Blackpink, leading to speculation about a supposed relationship between the two. However, so far, there is no concrete evidence to support this claim. Nor has it been confirmed that Lisa was present at the fashion show attended by Taehyung. Therefore, any information linking the two artists in this context is baseless. Unfortunately, some people take every opportunity to discredit Taehyung's relationship, spreading theories or news with no basis in reality. Whether by inventing non-existent encounters or creating false narratives, these actions aim to create confusion and divert attention from the obvious. This isn't the first time this has happened, and it likely won't be the last, but it is everyone's responsibility to discern between what is presented as fact and what is actually simple speculation without evidence. Both Jungkook and Taehyung have chosen not to make formal statements about their relationship, which is perfectly acceptable. However, what they share through gestures, looks, and everyday attitudes has been enough for many fans to identify in them a couple who care for, respect, and support each other in an environment where public exposure can be overwhelming. In conclusion, Taehyung traveled to attend an important event, not to meet other celebrities, and his relationship with Jungkook continues to show signs of a genuine connection, which is authentically expressed in their daily lives. The focus should be on their well-being and valuing the way they support each other, rather than fueling rumors that only distort reality. The first thing that stands out in the relationship between Taehyung and Jungkook is the way they no longer limit each other. Before, their interactions were shorter, as if their surroundings made them think twice before getting close. Now, that barrier is gone. Today, every encounter between them flows smoothly. They walk together, touch, look at each other, and do it all without avoiding cameras or people nearby. It's not something they try to hide, nor do they exaggerate it. It's simply there. There's no intention to force it on display, but neither is there any intention to hide it. Those who have been observing this connection for a while know that these moments aren't part of a planned script. They are acts that arise from what they feel, and that can't be faked. Many might think it's some kind of game or strategy, but just seeing how they seek each other out is enough to understand that it's not something superficial. Jungkook approaches without fear. Taehyung responds without hesitation. The physicality between them is neither limited nor cold. They touch with a gentleness that needs no explanation. It's a silent language that speaks for them every time they're close. And that language isn't new, but now it shows itself with more confidence. It's no longer small details, it's now clear signals. There are gestures they repeat, glances that last longer than usual. When they look at each other, they don't do it as someone seeking attention. They do it as someone who knows the other well. As someone who finds calm in that eye contact. Nothing they do seems forced. It's as if their relationship has its own rhythm, one that doesn't need validation. That's why, when they appear together, when they share those moments, those who know the story know how to recognize what's there. Because it's not something that was built overnight. It's something that was formed step by step. And now that they no longer hide it, it becomes more visible. Jungkook and Taehyung don't try to convince anyone. They simply live what they feel. The interesting thing is that this kind of relationship doesn't need names or declarations. Because they say everything without words. Every time their arms touch, every time one leans toward the other, there is a message. A message that can't be misinterpreted. A message that says, there's something real here. And that's what keeps Taekook's story alive. One of the most important things when watching Taehyung and Jungkook is the natural way they express themselves. They don't need big scenes or exaggerated actions. Their essence is in the details. In how they walk side by side, in how they approach each other even when there are cameras, in how they maintain that closeness even when they know they're being watched. What once could have been just intuition is now constant evidence. They don't hide it. They don't disguise it. And that has a special value. Because when something is repeated so often, with that calmness and confidence, it's because they aren't afraid to show it. The relationship between them isn't hidden behind jokes or covered up with excuses. It's shown as it is, without filters or efforts to appear different. Every gesture between them seems to have a clear meaning. They're not just companions. It's not just coexistence. It's a deep connection that expresses itself freely. The touches, the lingering glances, the way they position themselves close to each other, regardless of who's watching, are all sure signs of a strong and consistent relationship. Some people might try to justify this as work or just an act. But when it's repeated with such sincerity, when it stays the same over time, that explanation falls short. Because a performance has limits. But what they do goes beyond that. It's not a staged encounter. It's a way of being together that transcends anything planned. Furthermore, this way of interacting doesn't change depending on the context. It doesn't matter if they're at an event, in a video, or in a more personal moment. The pattern repeats itself: closeness, trust, and a connection that can't be manufactured. Even when they're not speaking, their gestures keep them connected. They understand each other just by looking at each other. And that way of communicating without words isn't common. It only appears between people who really know each other and are comfortable with what they share.